I'm William Kumwembe and I welcome you to yet another edition of the program Business Time right here on Times Television, a magazine program where we'll bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines. And coming up in the program today, Malawi avoids asset bubble and businesses urged to seize opportunities in energy. We have these and other stories.
Now you can access the Daily Times, Malawi News and the Sunday Times newspapers anytime, anywhere, by the click of a mouse or a swipe on your smartphone. With eTimes, right on your mobile gadget. Flip through the pages with a swipe or a click. Navigate through all pages and see clear pictures and designs. Access a database of previous papers of the Daily Times, Malawi News, and the Sunday Times. Easy. Subscribe now to eTimes. Go to www.times.mw/e-edition. Sign up and log in. Enter your password and enjoy the newspaper. It's about time.
In our first story in the program, mid-last year, Reserve Bank of Malawi Governor Dalitso Kabambe warned that the country could register an asset bubble this year due to the rapid growth in pension funds and life insurance resources. Kabambe said businesses need to tap into the resources to avoid the rapid growth. 1 year down the line, our reporter Taonga Sabola caught up with Kabambe to see whether the asset bubble has been reached.
We have not yet reached that level of an asset bubble. We are now, I think, for pensions and life insurance funds at around just about 1 trillion Malawi kwacha. Half of that 1 trillion has been invested on the stock market with the 13 registered or listed companies. But in terms of absorption on the stock market has grown. We saw recently one bank going to the stock market to get part of its debt. They issued bonds, but we've also seen that some companies on the stock market have been expanding their businesses. In the process, they have been able to absorb part of the growth in life insurance and pensions money. But equally too, we continue to push for additional companies to list on the stock market. There is one which was supposed to list by the end of this year. They are saying that they'll be listing around the 14th of January next year. Again, if they come in, and we are also discussing with many other companies to come and list, if they do, that will be an avenue which will absorb part of that liquidity. But equally too, on the part of government, you have seen that they have been issuing a number of bonds. That they have issued public bonds on the stock market. That too has enabled to mop up part of that liquidity. But I was also going to be quick to say that looking ahead, we are seeing that there's a new bank which is coming in the fall. They're not calling it a bank, but saying it's be agriculture and Malawi Agriculture and Industrialization Corporation, PLC. Which is going also to be listed on the market so that it can mop up. Their plan is to raise as much as
The Malawi Investment Trade Center has challenged businesses in Malawi to take advantage of various opportunities in the energy sector. MITC Chief Executive Officer Clement Kumbemba made the observation when he presented a paper at a recent economic conference in Mangochi. Kumbemba explains.
Yes, I think I was asked to present on strategic options that are there for private sector in the energy space. As you're aware, private sector is one of the major beneficiaries of energy. They use energy to produce. And with the challenges that the country is currently facing, I was asked to make a presentation as to what else should private sector be doing. What is the status of energy in Malawi? And I was basically just doing that. Yes, as you may recall, I think we've come a long way. I think Malawians, we should be commending ourselves that with the support from the United States government, the MCC Compact, I think there's been a lot of movement. If there's a sector that has seen a lot of movement in Malawi, it's energy. When we started with the Compact in 2013, things were looking quite very bad. We could not get any additional energy because it could not be transported. Because of transmission problems. The legislation wasn't in place to allow independent power producers produce. The power purchase agreement issues were not there at all. And I think we've all gone through a big transition As you know, even ESCOM itself has been unbundled, and as we speak now, the framework is all in place. Legislative, regulatory, and the administrative framework is in place to allow private sector players come in on the market. And I think as MITC, as we saw in my presentation, I was saying, yes, we can look to government, but let's face it, government has got also so many sectors that they are looking to assist. But we're making a call, an appeal to private sector. That it's time the private sector come in. We should not also just focus on foreign investors. Let's look at ourselves. We hear that we are sitting on a huge pension deposit. I mean, why don't we invest in one or two of these projects ourselves? If we so much believe that these are profitable ventures, then let's get even Malawians. We can raise money on stock exchange. We hear about Ethiopia that is building a state-of-the-art dam to generate energy, and they raised money from the citizenry. I'm sure we can do the same in Malawi. I'm calling upon private sector to offer alternatives to companies. An SME that has probably acquired equipment, they're making juices, they're making cooking oil, but all they need is someone to probably give them alternative energy when ESCOM power is off. I think that is an opportunity for private sector. And as also I've said that I've seen individuals, they are doing very well. They are building in areas where it will take years to get the ESCOM electricity. But you see in all their houses, they are relying on alternative sources of energy, be it solar. And why don't we do the same in our offices? It may work for 3-4 hours, but it's better than having nothing. Than all of us just to be complaining, because at the end of the day, as a nation, we ought to move, and I think we can move with the alternative sources of energy, as it has proved. As I said, you go to places like South Africa, you see people are converting car parks into solar farms. And why are we not doing the same? Really, it was an appeal. I hope we can debate on it and see whether we can, get some mileage out of it.
Malawians have been urged to embrace financial planning and wealth management as a way to secure a stable future. This was said on Thursday by United States company WVL Group Chief Executive Officer William Van Loo at a seminar organized by Nikko Asset Managers for its clients. Van Loo advocated that the area one starts planning, the sooner one starts to enjoy the benefits of planning. Sharon Chiro was at the seminar and now reports.
Van Loo also said demography is not important when it comes to financial planning.
Well, financial planning is important actually for everyone, regardless of where they are. It really is about the principles of thinking about where you are, but perhaps more importantly, thinking about where you want to be. So financial planning is simply the process of helping you get from where you are today to where you want to be in the future financially.
He also mentioned that the main challenge in properly financially planning is planning itself.
The main problem that keeps people from accomplishing their financial goals is actually lack of planning. So one of the things that we talk about is that in many cases people take more time to plan a vacation than they do to plan their financial futures. There's an old saying that says, if you don't know where you're going, you could end up anywhere. And so planning is simply about being thoughtful about what it is you want, being thoughtful about where you are, and then assessing the process of how best to accomplish your goals. From what I understand today, there aren't any certified financial planners in the country. And so one of the things that certainly could be done, certified financial planners exist all over the world. So one of the things that could be done in terms of education is those going through that process to learn the principles of financial planning so they can assist others through the process. That said, however, in fact, there was one person who attended today who had actually wrote a book on financial planning or the concepts of financial planning. So you certainly don't need to be a CFP or certified financial planner to use those tools and resources. So I would encourage those that are considering this to seek out those professionals within the community that are experts in the investment arena, and then go through the process of just being thoughtful about what your goals and objectives are, and then plan towards achieving those objectives.
Nico Asset Managers Chief Investment Officer Daniel Dunga said Malawi's economy is conducive for saving and investment.
Well, in general, it's very, very important to not only think about today, but also think about tomorrow in as far as financial planning is concerned. This is my personal view that in Malawi, most of us, including me, will live for today. Tomorrow will worry about itself. But really, when you look at the life experiences of many people, tomorrow is very, very important to think about. And that's what we at Nico Asset Managers are all about, is to say, while today might be good, it's always important to think about tomorrow. Why? Because today you have power to earn money. Tomorrow, you may not have the power or the capacity to earn money. So today's money is not all for today only. A portion of it must always be put aside, invested properly, so that it can secure your tomorrow. Malawi economy is conducive because the principles that work here, they could be working at a smaller scale, but they're the same global principles. So, for example, the government introduced in 2011 the Pension Act. The Pension Act is purely forcing people, literally forcing people, to put aside some money for tomorrow. We don't have to be forced. We need to understand that tomorrow matters. There are many, many vehicles or investment opportunities that can take care of tomorrow. A common one is property. You don't build your property for today, it's always for tomorrow. We have the Malawi Stock Exchange. There's a big opportunity there, but a lot of Malawians are unaware, and maybe we in the financial sector are to blame. We need to get the message out there to say the Malawi Stock Exchange is a big opportunity for people. And then there are also various other opportunities. The quick answer is yes, the Malawi economy can facilitate securing tomorrow.
Reporting for Times News, I am Sharon Chirwa.
Remember, this is Business Time on Times Television, a magazine program where we'll bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines. And still to come, weak adoption of ICT Warriors experts. We'll be right back.
Now you can access the Daily Times, Malawi News, and the Sunday Times newspapers anytime, anywhere, by the click of a mouse or a swipe on your smartphone. With eTimes, right on your mobile gadget. Flip through the pages with a swipe or a click. Navigate through all pages and see clear pictures and designs. Access a database of previous papers of the Daily Times, Malawi News, and the Sunday Times. Easy. Subscribe now to eTimes. Go to www.times.mw/e-edition. Sign up and log in. Enter your password and enjoy the newspaper. It's about time.
Welcome back. Players in the information and communication technology ICT sector have expressed worry at the level at which the masses are adopting technological innovations, stressing that it is derailing the growth of the industry in the country. Chief Executive Officer of Community Solutions Limited, Brian Kansichi, said the situation has been perpetuated by lack of interest among Malawians to learn how such solutions can be used and how they can benefit locals. We have the detail in this report.
What we do is we identify certain problems in a community, and then we figure out a way of solving them using IT solutions. So for example, we've got a directory called City Younger. What we try to do is to focus on specific areas in the community. So for example, the directory I'm talking about is City Younger. That is specifically designed for the tourism industry. So imagine you visiting a new place. One of the hardest things for anybody to do when visiting a new place is to know how to find the basic products and services. For example, you need you go to Blantyre, for example, or when you're traveling from abroad, you come to Malawi. And the first thing you need to know is you need to know where you can find accommodation. Accommodation, you need to know how to move about transport, where to eat. So City Younger specifically focuses on those kind of things, products and services that a person will be looking for when visiting a new place. It's designed specifically for mobile viewing. So when you get to City Younger, that's www.cityyounger.com. If you're using a mobile phone, we recommend using it in landscape mode. You have a navigation key at the top that has the home emergency numbers, and then we're also looking at lake when somebody's visiting the lake and they're looking for accommodation, and then we're also looking at wildlife accommodation. So that's to do with the tourism. And then other than that, then you see how to get into the city. When you get into the city, you see you have the categories, and then on the right the logos. The reason we also included the logos is because when people identify businesses easier with the logo. For example, Daily Times, when somebody just sees a Daily Times logo without even seeing any text, they'll be able to easily identify you and just directly go to you. So when they go into the city, that is a priority page, because now when a person can just directly click the logo and then they get the listing. And on the listing you get the phone numbers, the website. The website we've included it there for people looking for more information about the business. It is kind of, I think we're still lagging behind in getting used to the change and adapting to using these kind of technologies. So it's been slow, but I think hopefully with time, it's different to the way it was when we first started. But with time we can see that there's an improvement. What we would like to see is like people getting used to using these kind of platforms more frequently, because it simplifies things. But as you know, it's like changing a habit. People just have to sort of like get used to finding everything on their mobile. So next time somebody's looking for something, I would suggest they just go to cityanga.com and they'll find what they're looking for. It helps people because, like I said, it's focusing on a specific area. So when people are looking for, when they travel to a new place, this is the directory that most people will go to. Because of course there might be other directories around there, but then the difference between us and others is like we specifically focus on people visiting a new place. So, for example, you can visit one directory that's just broad, but then it's going to be kind of hard for you to find what you're looking for, because you have to go through so many things, and it's not really categorized properly for you to find exactly what you're looking for. So City Yanga has actually simplified things. Even the interface itself, it's very user-friendly, and it makes it easy for people to find exactly what they're looking for.
President Peter Mutharika on Wednesday launched the Malawi Agricultural and Industrial Investment Corporation (PLC) in Lilongwe, placing emphasis that the government will not interfere in the operations of the private-run corporation. Mutharika was, however, quick to mention that he will not tolerate any arrogance that borders on lack of accountability from the running of the institution. Chimwemwe Mangazi with the whole story.
Mutharika said the corporation will run autonomously with its own governance structures without interference from the government. He said that the institution is a gateway to ending poverty woes that Malawi has been facing for a long time.
Government will never interfere in your affairs, but I will not allow any institutional arrogance and that borders on lack of accountability. Being autonomous does not mean not being accountable to somebody else. The Malawi Agricultural and Investment Corporation has been established specifically to drive a private sector-led economic development. The job of this corporation is to mobilize financial resources, human capital, and the necessary technology for sustainable wealth creation in this country. This investment corporation will work collaboratively with commercial banks and other financial institutions. The corporation will work autonomously with their own governance structures without interference from the government.
Group Chief Executive Officer of Old Mutual Malawi Limited, Edith Gia, said that the development has excited the private sector and that players in the financial sector will join hands to see that the initiative bears the desired fruits. She, however, stressed that the initiative can achieve its intended targets if there are clear guiding policies and a robust governance framework.
One of the key sectors that this platform is focusing on is agriculture. The need for clear and consistent policies cannot be emphasized in this sector. Investors, as well as lead developers for projects, require certainty of policies to be able to plan projects successfully. In addition, the need to incentivize the investors and developers alike is critical and is one of the key issues that should be a focus area for MAIC.
Franklin Kennedy, board chairman of CDH Investment Bank, the lead implementers of the project, said a 22 billion kwacha capital investment by the government in the corporation will enable the company to start a capital raising program to attract domestic and international funding.
With regards to raising longer-term, higher-risk capital, Malawi Agricultural and Industrial Investment Corporation requires support in the form of pre-agreed long-term period of tax exemption. The Project Steering Committee made a submission to the Ministry to make the entity tax exempt for a considerable defined period. We endorse the PSC request and hope this will be considered and approved at an early stage so as to be incorporated in the company's capital raising initiative. The Project Steering Committee will soon transition its responsibilities to the appointed Board of Directors of the Malawi Agricultural and Industrial Investment Corporation. Work is continuing to recruit a strong CEO, MD of the company, and identify additional directors, independent directors, some of whom may be international, to comply with the separate board committee membership requirements.
During the launch, Chief Executive Officer of NICO General Don Bell Mandala, Chief Executive Officer of Airtel Malawi Charles Kamoto, Sangwani Hara, Secretary to the Treasury Ben Botolo, and Chief Executive of Malawi Investment and Trade Center Clement Kumbemba were unveiled as board members of the corporation. From Lilongwe, I am Jimo Mangazi.
And proceeding with the program, let us now have a look at how the Malawi kwacha is faring against major trading currencies on the foreign exchange market. The Reserve Bank of Malawi has said the country's pensions fund assets have grown to 695.9 billion kwacha as at September 2018, making a presentation during the 2018 Economics Conference in Mangochi. Recently, RBM Chief Examiner for Non-Prudential Compliance, Paul Nyirenda, said the sector still faces a number of challenges, including non-remittance of funds by firms. Nyirenda explains.
In this respect, I was highlighting that the Pension Act makes it mandatory that all employees in Malawi have to be on pension. And therefore, it's a responsibility for employers to ensure that their employees have pension. And I also highlighted that pension assets have been growing, starting from 2011 when the Pension Act was enacted. At that time, the pension assets were at 74 billion, but now those pension assets have grown to 692 billion. So these pension assets, basically, they are used for economic growth and development in this country. As 38% of these assets, they are on the stock market, on listed instruments. And then we have also seen that 25% they are in the government short-term instruments, while 9% of the assets are in long-term dated instruments from government. If companies are not limiting deductions, I must say that what happens is, one, employees, or I should say pension fund members, they lose out in terms of investment income, because once the funds have gone to trustees, they invest them, and then the pension fund members benefit in terms of investment returns. Now, the Act actually specifically states that pension contributions must be limited within 14 days after the end of the month they are due. So we, of course, see situations whereby other employers have not been complying with this aspect. And the Act is so clear that in such circumstances, they must limit with the penalty interest, and that penalty interest is calculated at the bank rate plus 10%. Basically, that is aimed at also compensating for the investment income that has been lost by the pension fund members. Further to that, as the registrar has been taking a number of initiatives just to make sure that these employers that are not limiting pension contributions are limiting. Of late, in June, or I should say towards the end of May, he engaged parastatals that have got pension contribution arrears, and apparently we have seen since that engagement, we have seen that a lot of parastatals have cleared their outstanding pension contribution arrears. I must say there are 12 that have cleared, and in addition to that, the registrar actually intends to go further. He is going to publish a list of all institutions that have not yet cleared their pension contribution arrears as a way of naming and shaming to encourage them to clear the arrears. So this will start with the parastatals, and later on it will also go to private sector companies.
Well, on that note, we've also come to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time right here on Times Television. It is a magazine program. We'll bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.
Now you can access the Daily Times, Malawi News, and the Sunday Times newspapers anytime, anywhere, by the click of a mouse or a swipe on your smartphone. With eTimes, right on your mobile gadget. Flip through the pages with a swipe or a click. Navigate through all pages and see clear pictures and designs. Access a database of previous papers of the Daily Times, Malawi News, and the Sunday Times. Easy. Subscribe now to eTimes. Go to www.times.mw/e-edition. Sign up and log in. Enter your password and enjoy the newspaper.